Okay, so I have clicked the go live button, so we are live. And I hope everyone can hear me. I hope people can hear Ted. Say hi, Ted. Mr. Ted. Mr. Ted? Is Ted in here? Uh-oh. We have gone 0 seconds. Oh, no, Ted's still in here. Okay. Anyway, for those who've just tuned in, this is going to be a bit of a fuckfest. I'm playing it by year. RaceRoom is having their weekly ranked races tonight in the North American time slot. It's IndyCar Mid Ohio, but I don't actually know how many people turn out to these. Ted is also not talking on my end, which is why you don't hear Ted.
Yeah, I'm suddenly mute, despite how talkative I normally am.
Yes.
I no longer speak. I've taken a vow of silence as a Buddhist monk.
But yeah, like, RaceRoom is having a weekly ranked race tonight. They do one race per week on Saturdays in every of the main time slot. So, like, there's a European race, there's an Australian race, and then there's a North American slash BR race. I want to run the BR North American race tonight because it's IndyCars at Mid Ohio, full distance race, and I have a setup. But I don't know how many people actually turn out to these. So, like, I'm going to stream the first half hour of practice, but if there's, like, 7 cars, I'm piecing out. So, like, this could be just, like, a practice stream to some extent. Of just, like, me hanging out and being like, yeah, this is how many people actually play RaceRoom, if that makes sense. So, it's a big experiment, and, like, it is a buddy of mine's birthday tonight, and, like, we're gonna go to the bar and watch UFC afterwards. So, like, I kind of want to get to that sooner rather than later, even though I'm not a big fan of UFC. So, like, if there's 6 people in this race, I will gladly go watch a sport I don't care for to hang out with my buddy a bit earlier than I'd normally get there, than running a 90-minute race with 6 cars. But, like, I don't know, it's an experiment, right? DJ Phil says exactly why I tuned in. Interested to see how many people are playing RaceRoom in North American prime hours. I know there are a couple of private leagues. I know someone's been trying to pester me to join their RaceRoom league on Race Department, which I might take them up on the offer, to be honest with you. Just because I really don't mind this game, especially the online side of things. Like, it's fine. Like, this is, in my opinion, like, as good as you can make ISI motor. And I think both you and I agree on that RaceRoom is really underrated.
I think it works. I think fundamentally there's a lot of good things about RaceRoom. The problem with RaceRoom is, I know we talked about this in one of our podcast episodes, but the way it kind of soft launched as
Yeah.
only like a time trialing and leaderboard sim really hurt its development and its position in terms of marketability and profitability. It didn't bring, the air quotes esports experience that everybody wanted out of simulators at the time, because iRacing was starting to get more popular, more serious and turning away from mods and going all laser scan and official content. And AC had filled the market gap as the new, moddable sim, since R
Yeah.
Factor 1 had started to fall out of vogue. I think that Race Room was underutilized.
It was late to the party in a lot of aspects.
Yeah, but it's really good. It's super good. I don't mind it at all. Well, I shouldn't be very low. My mic cable is plugged in and everything. Do I sound fine to you, Austin?
I just gotta crank your volume up just a bit here.
Okay.
And then I gotta turn the game down.
Okay. I don't think there might be a way to mix Discord audio independently of the game audio for your stream software, so that the other people talking come up more. I'm not entirely sure though.
That makes sense. Let me fuck with this here. Try again. Try going.
Hello,
Oh
I
yeah, there we
am
go.
a man. Haha.
Yeah, I'll just keep boosting you. Keep going.
I like to drive car and fly plane. They are my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, we'll try that. This seems okay. And we'll
Okay.
fuck with it as the server goes on.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, like RaceRoom launched weird, and like the reason the game took so long to kind of gain traction is because like it came out right as iRacing had just gotten popular. Like iRacing had been out since '08, but it was really 2011, 2012 that like people started like joining it in like big numbers and like spending a lot of money on content, and like the era of modern sim racing as we know it kind of began. So like after people had already binged on like iRacing content, both road and oval, and got really invested into it, when another game came along with the exact same like pricing structure and pricing model and was basically trying to be not iRacing 2.0 but like a very similar product to iRacing, people just looked at it and were like, I don't really want to spend all this money again on content.
I think the same distrust that people who don't like iRacing were showing to iRacing because of the fact that you had to like license or rent everything piecemeal rather than just getting all
Yep.
the content when you bought the game
Yep.
also happened with RaceRoom. But because RaceRoom didn't market itself as effectively to the tryhard group of sim racers who wanted to be super serious about it, it just didn't get the same market share.
Yeah, and DJ's got a really good comment in our YouTube channel too. He's saying, and R Factor 2 came out at the same time, and there was the whole lifetime multiplayer subscription format that they
Yeah.
rolled out. So there were a lot of games coming to the market at the same time, offering the same sort of like early access piecemeal pricing model. And it came at a time where people had already sunk a bunch of money into iRacing, so you're being asked to do it a third time and a fourth time. It's not like now where, like now we've kind of stabilized in the market where like Automobilista 2 comes out and it's just a one-time purchase. Maybe a two-time purchase if you factor in like the multiple season pass. But you know what I mean? Like it's a game. Like it's done. Like there's content ready to go in it.
Yeah,
But
I'm just really sick of everything being marketed as a service now. Like
yes.
there's only so many things that you subscribe to without owning that you can tolerate, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just getting so tired. I'm so tired of it. Like, sell me a thing. I want you to sell me a thing instead of saying, hey, you could pay for this as a monthly membership. It's like, no, just, I will buy it. Thank you. Please.
Yeah, the memberships add up, which is what a lot of people don't realize. Like even outside of the video game like world, like when you start factoring in like your Spotify subscription and your Netflix subscription, it turns into like wow, like it's a couple $100. So like any game
Yeah.
that kind of rolls out that model or keeps asking you to spend money after the initial purchase on like piecemeal stuff, like very very piecemeal stuff. Like I don't mind major expansion packs. Like a good example was how Race 07 did it, where like every year they just rolled out a giant pack. And it's like
Yeah, and
it's
if
yeah.
it's like, hey, we add like a whole new series or a whole new car type to the game,
Yep.
or like a whole region of tracks, like an all Japan pack, or like an all
Yep.
Asian GT pack, or a Trans Am pack, where it's like, hey, we gave you like a 70s, a 90s, and a modern Trans Am series with all the tracks and skin, 2 or 3 track skins for each of the tracks that we included, and there's like 10
Yep.
US tracks. Okay, you know what? Fine. It's it's the I just can't fucking stand.
It's like we sold one car.
Yeah.
Here's one car.
Well, it's like everybody creaming themselves recently over the fact, what was it? RSS released what was it? The 2013 F1 car recently?
Yep.
And it's like or when VRC did Trans Am TA2 cars, like
Yep.
people want certain things that they're missing. But the only way to make that work is to not charge full price for the game to begin with. But they charge full price and then make you pay for that stuff on top of it. And people go, what the no, what, like, fuck, huh?
We've actually got an interesting comment here. He says, I think subscriptions and pay for what you want pricing models didn't catch on in sim racing, at least at first, because sim racing had just come out of the era of R Factor where you had so much content thanks to mods for free, and he's right about that.
Yeah, one, that's correct. And then two, people still, to this day, hate paying for a single car or track so much that they pirate paid mods made by people who do like high quality laser scans.
There's a whole subreddit called Assetto Pirate that's just links to paid mods.
Where people go through and they just steal paid mods or private mods that aren't meant to be available to the public because they were like developed for a race team, and people go and find them on servers or files or whatever, and they fucking steal them straight up. And they're like, oh, I'm not gonna pay for a mod. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, people are really, really averse to not getting the full experience from a single purchase.
what's audio monitoring? I'm just like fucking with the levels here and shit like that. Yeah, I have a drink next to me because it's gonna be a long evening if people show up for this race.
What you should do is see if you can, if you're using the software I think you're using, like I do, see if you can separate a track out from game sounds and system sounds, because you should be able to track them separately.
That's a good question. Can I separate?
And then
Because
if
I
you
just
can,
have a desktop audio
you
slider.
can separate, yeah, you can do an audio-only capture for Discord or something, and then like turn that up independently of the game. Now you'll have to have a million audio tracks to do it, which is what I do, but it lets you level different things independently.
Yeah,
it's
no,
super helpful.
And you're right about that. Now I'm trying to figure out how to split them. Advanced audio properties. Okay, there are different tracks.
Yeah.
And it only lets me do two. There's not like a...
You should be able to add one, or select a new audio source. You're using Streamlabs like me, right?
I'm not using Streamlabs. I'm just going straight through OBS.
Oh, normal OBS?
Yeah.
Okay, let me open OBS Studio.
That might be the issue, to be honest. And I do have different tracks.
Even though I know people hate it now for some reason, I use Streamlabs instead of old open source OBS.
Okay.
And it lets me add, like, basically retrograde audio tracks for each different program I have running on the computer. Or I could separate my Oculus mic from my normal mic, or change that between mics whenever I want to.
That's pretty fucking cool.
And things like that. So like I can have my Discord at a different volume than my game capture, and two different games or software running, and have those at different audio levels too, and stuff like that. Huh.
Yeah, that's
somebody in the comments making fun of Pirate Bros. I want to spend $200 on a wheel, bro, and $150 on a sim, but $3 for a car is too much, bro. I'll just pirate.
He's got a good point. Yeah, it's
people do that constantly. It's so fucking annoying.
Both sides of the argument, I think, are really good, which is why there's such a stalemate. And I think we've talked about that in one of our podcasts.
Maybe. I kind of think, I honestly think the good side of the argument is people doing high quality work deserve to get paid, and people working for free because they choose to deserve to give stuff away for free if they want to. But like, I have this argument with people all the time. I got kicked out of another broadcasting community recently, probably like the 50th fucking Discord I've been banned from this year, for laughing at people for saying they couldn't afford to race in real life with a giant $5,000 motion rig and a triple screen setup and a $3,000 computer and a DD and all that shit. It's, I can't afford to race in real life, or go do this or go do that. It's like, then why are you fucking sim racing? Home slice?
Yeah, it's a weird argument. And like, basically what happens when you're sim racing is there's a fork in the road, and you need to make the decision about getting into racing earlier than you'd think. Like, once you figure out you're half decent at these games, you really have three options. You can either binge on sim gear, you can know life and try and climb the esports ladder, or you can get into real racing. And you need to kind of plan ahead and be like, well, if I'm already this good and I have like the disposable income that I do, maybe you should try real racing if you have a hunch for it, because you might actually do well and have a lot of fun. Otherwise, if you go down the other path and binge all your money on expensive sim gear, that closes the door.
In real life afterwards.
Yeah.
You get to make one of those decisions. You either get to spend the money on real racing and be a real racer, and then have cheap sim gear and sim race as a training tool, or you get to be a sim-only guy who has really expensive sim equipment and not race in real life, and be content with that. You don't get to have it both ways and spend all the money on sim racing and then complain you can't race in real life. And like, again, work, family, location makes it not as easy. I'm not saying any of those are invalid reasons to do it. However, it's people who go, oh, well, I want to, but I sim race instead, because sim racing, if they then say it's because real racing, I couldn't do it, or it's too expensive, or there's something in the way.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you spent all that money on the sim stuff, so actually there wasn't a barrier. Okay, there might have been a barrier to real life racing, but it wasn't the money, so don't complain about the money, because that's the thing that happens to me all the time. Is people get really defensive about, oh, I didn't have the opportunities that you do, Ted, or blah, 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 blah. Like, I fucking grew up rich to people for some reason, I guess. Is something I hear a lot, and it's like, my sim rig is a $200 G25 I bought used and pedals, and that's it. Right?
Yep.
And Guys, an autocross is $40 if you
There it
have
is.
an SCCA membership. Okay? You can drive your street car to a parking lot or a horse racing track and do an autocross for $40 and be at the racetrack all day. Granted, autocrosses have very low track time. You will only drive for like 6 minutes to 15 minutes between all your practice runs and everything, which is why a lot of people don't like it. But it's still only $40. And you know what else? A Super Sprint SCCA time trial event is $80 for one day with like 3 30-minute time trial sessions, I think. 3 sprint runs or something like that, which you can do in your street car. If you can afford a shitty $500 manual Saturn to drive down to a racetrack, you can afford a $50 entry or $100 entry for the time trial, and you can afford to do that, you know, spend $100 on gas and do that 4 times and then throw the car away for $1,000 instead of going and buying a DD or some super expensive sim rig. Granted, you'll get more time out of the sim rig for that money, so you have to make that decision. But don't say, I can't, because you could, but you chose differently, and that's really important. That's a very important distinction.
So we got in, and there's 2 people.
Yay.
Like I said, I'll stay throughout practice, because you can't join once qualifying starts. So, like, if there's, like, under 10 people, I'm not going to do the race. Already we got 3, so that's promising.
Wow, a whole 3.
3's not bad when you consider the room, like, just opened.
Yeah.
But then, like, it also matters, too. Like, the default set in this is really terrible. So, like, if people are running 110s, I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm not sticking around.
But it doesn't get you sloppy and drippy to beat substandard opponentry that you don't even have to race at all, Austin?
Not really.
What are you, competitive? An asshole? What, do you think you're better than those people, so they're not worth beating?
I mean, like, it's the same thing with SRS, too, right? Like, if you run certain time slot races, it's no point running against, like, 4 cars.
Mid-Ohio. One of the racetracks in the U.S. cert scene that I actually haven't driven at yet. I'd be really interested to try.
I love this place.
It seems like a lot of cars are too fast for it. It definitely fits like club-level cars really well. DJ said, how much did you pay for the setup? DJ, is that the joke about the sim racing setup, or is that the joke about the setup Austin's using for the car, or is that a genuine question about how much like my PC and everything costs?
I think it's about my car setup, but it's a setup I developed. They updated the IndyCar physics, so I spent a night just binging and driving the cars at a bunch of different tracks and getting a setup dialed in. The default set sucks.
Yeah.
Runs way too much aero, but this is okay so far.
GT7 has setups online now, so rip the noobs. Yeah, but like Gran Turismo's a fuckfest anyway, so why are you playing Gran Turismo online? I don't care if the noobs have a bad time in Gran Turismo 7 online, because I don't care if the normal people have a bad time in Gran Turismo 7 online. The iRacing scene, bro. Yeah. Yeah, the iRacing scene is the thing.
This car drives so good. I love how this game drives.
Good. I'm happy for you, man. Knowing that you're having a good time is almost as good as having a good time myself.
This car is almost 5 seconds a lap faster on the softs, which is interesting. But they don't last at all. Like I did a stint earlier this morning on just like a public server, and within like 8 minutes, like the left rear was down to yellow. So like I think I need to run primaries the whole race, but it's a question of whether on one stop or two stop. I know what this car is capable of running in Q trim, so I don't think I'm actually going to run Q trim in practice. But I know I can hit 105s. It's crazy. Like, the thing just sticks in every corner. And Edu put up 105 probably on the alts. I mean, if I can make the alts work, I'll certainly try them for the race. I wish I had like a wear percentage overlay, just to know like how much these things are wearing. You know, he's actually not that much quicker than me, all things considered.
How is that a fucking controversial question? Guys, asking somebody for an opinion does not inherently cause controversy. I'm pretty sure Austin's favorite sim right now is...
I really don't have one.
Yeah, but like he's got like main ones he uses, but he probably doesn't have a favorite. Same with me. Yes, DJ, they do use the chicane in Champ Car. It depends. Sometimes they also use the short layout, which turns off right before the main hairpin.
Yep.
Zigzag says fuck Will Buxton because he did something in specific. Just fuck Will Buxton because he's Will Buxton. How about that? Dude was fine when he was on Speed Channel 10, 12, 14 years ago, but now that he's been an F1 media member for a long time, he's turned into a smug prick. Because he thinks he's above criticism now, so he just literally lies constantly and does sensationalist bullshit rather than actual journalism. But to be fair, they all get paid to act like that now, so... The media class doesn't care about honesty, like they say they do, guys. Don't buy it. Yeah, Austin, you gotta use a different stream software if you want to stream with multiple people, man, because I am literally less loud than the sound of your beard scraping against the microphone.
I am sorry, sir. I'll look into it after the race.
Just get Streamlabs instead of old OBS. It lets you select different audio sources from like different video, or you can like put up a website playing in the background and do all, there's all kinds of crazy shit you can do with it. There's no point to using old OBS.
The good news is I don't think the car needs much, if anything.
Yeah, but you need more drivers. There's like 5 people. Oh, 20 minutes left. I don't know.
Yeah. That's only 5 who've set a lap. A couple more have come. Okay. So how many people we actually got in here? It's not a bad amount. Okay, let's go try hard. Sure. 11 liters. So I gotta run a 105 flat on the alts? Okay. Don't wreck the car. Wow, my man is loose in front of me. Mega loose. Okay, the amount of extra grip I have is insane with these tires. More people coming in, that's promising. Okay, mock qualifying run, green flag. Fuck, that's close at the top. Probably got on this lap, though. It's slowly filling up. We should be okay. Fuck me. I think I threw it away in the final corner. It's a really terrible entry, but a really good exit in that corner. Big sand. There we go. 3/10 up right as we run out of fuel. I don't think it needs anything. I think the set's pretty good. But yeah, it doesn't really tell me like how long my tires are gonna last, but 8 minutes was when it started showing yellow in the practice session I did. Maybe I'll just ask in chat. Yeah, we've got, what, 12 cars? In the downtime, have you checked out the next-gen NASCAR 03 mod? I actually haven't. Because, like, the car is so fundamentally different than NASCAR 03's, like, default physics allow for, that, like, it doesn't really replicate the experience, if that makes sense. It probably needs more rear brake. Pressure's fine. Yeah, like, shit, I don't really know what I should be doing for a race strategy. 11 cars registered so far. Can't complain too much in that case. Yeah, but, like, this is a once-a-week event, right? So... So this is probably our main competition for this evening, is Edu. And can I see what he's run? Oh, he's still running hards. Wait, no, he's on... What's he on? Can't tell. Looks like softs. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll do 2 stops and run 3 pit stops best strategy. So that would be 4 stints, so... Alternate... So what's 2 I want to say 240 divided by 4. So I gotta factor in push to pass too, right? $60 I guess. 61 will go. Alternate. And then we gotta change the pit strategy. Alt. Okay, that should be fine. Did Mr. Ted die? I shall check. Mr. Ted did die. I think I've seen Auda running a bunch of different ranked races, and he's pretty good. So you know what? I will run his strategy. So it's essentially 4 stints of 60 liters, which allows for like maybe 2 push to passes per stint. Go save the setup. Overwrite. So that's not a bad turnout. How many cars we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. That's okay. Okay, let's go practice a pit stop, because that's important. I've been having fun with the NASCAR Euro Series mod for AC. Yeah, I have too. That's being run on Sim Racing System this season. Okay, let's go pit. Where is pit entrance? Okay, that's not bad. Now where is our pit stall? There it is. That's really not terrible. I'll do that again here. Yeah, I do apologize for the audio. For the next stream, I'll have Streamlabs going and I'll be able to split audio tracks and make everyone sound a lot cooler. So at the BBS sign, start preparing for pit road. Oh, that's really easy pit entry. Good. And that's really easy to pit. Okay, that's good. Your voice audio used to be fine. I don't know how long ago. Yeah, I had to get a new mic. The other one just like completely crapped out. Is there a correlation between frame rate and force feedback? That's a good question, and I really don't know the answer to that. So we've only got 10 cars in this race going into qualifying, which is kind of disappointing, but like I guess I'll run it out. There's a correlation between frame rate and FFB and GTR2. So I need to pick up my pace in Sector 3. Because Edu kicked my ass through there by about a tenth and a half, but I have him everywhere else. I don't know where Mr. Ted went. It says he's not in the Discord call anymore. And Mr. Ted is not in the chat either, so maybe something happened. Internet went out or something. But that's okay. That happens. So I'll actually kill the Discord call here that we're in. No, I don't really need to. If he just calls during qualifying, I'll answer again. But anyways, we're going to go rolling over into qualifying, which is 20 minutes private, which means you spawn in Sector 3 and just can run the lap out without a giant outlap wasting a bunch of time. So this is more or less on par with... what's the word I'm looking for? It's on par with your standard like 15-minute ranked race in RaceRoom. It's just a lot longer. I'm kind of bummed we just don't have more people though, and the times are very spread out here. So, Auda says to just take 3 stops and push, so that's what we'll do. Setup-wise, I guess I'll click through here to show what I'm running. It's completely different than the, I guess the standard set you get, which is why some people might be struggling, I guess. Have you played Gran Turismo 7 yet? I haven't hooked up my PlayStation in close to a year. And I really don't have an interest in Gran Turismo. I got burned once with GT Sport. The game was crap. The new one really hasn't changed a lot. Anyway, let's go qualify. Don't get pushed to pass here. Tires are nice and warm and sticky. Let's go. Gotta run a 104 to probably put us in the hunt for the pole. It looks like our tires start out pre-warmed, which is nice. So qualifying is 20 minutes in this. It's a bit long for a session. But it is what it is, and I guess it gives guys a chance to go piss before the race starts. A bit slow this first lap, it's not good. Blew that corner. Not the greatest lap. Everyone will be on alts for this session. Fuck me, it jumped a bit. Picked up 3/10, that's a good sign. It's not a good corner complex. Okay, that was the quickest lap that I've turned all day, though. I fucked up the final corner. Big send into the hairpin. You can tell, if you guys can see, the delta is on the steering wheel. Picking up a bit of time. Okay, let's try this again. Slightly better. Oh, it's starting to sputter on me. Run out of gas. Shitty. And Edu is 3/10 behind us. We can probably go a lot faster, to be honest. Text my buddy, see what's going on tonight. Yes, I believe Ted has died. So we will run this race in honor of Ted's internet connection. GT7 seems playable in custom races, otherwise it's the same time waster. Yeah, like, they really haven't done a whole lot to career mode to make it, like, worth my time. Just doesn't look interesting. Well, hello, Mr. Robert Tinsey. And yeah, I was in that stream too with Billy Strange, watching him go through it, and I watched Random Call Sign go through it, and it's just, it is, like, it's very, the formula hasn't changed in, like, 20 years. And it's the same, like, boring list of events, the same boring AI for the most part. Like, there's some adjustments to it, but it's the same, like, staggered start, chase down all the AI cars and pass them in 3 laps, and it's like, it's boring. Honestly, I'm just gonna go back out there again, see what we can do. I want to run a low 104. I think that'd be really neat. Because there are admittedly some corners I botched. Edu's improving. That lap's a bit of a throwaway. Might not be, though. Holy shit. Don't do what I did. But that'll give me a really nice run through turn 1 here. Edu has taken the pole from us. I think I can catch him. Might not have it in me. That actually wasn't a bad lap. All things considered. I only need a 10th on him. Almost died there. Almost died there again. But wow, it's not iRacing, so you can actually catch the car. Got the low fuel warning. I really don't need to grind out a pole run, but it's fun to. Unfortunately, I might run out of gas this lap. We'll see. Yeah, we're going to. And that's shitty because we're a 10th up. That's what we needed. Lame. Alright, let's put a little bit more fuel in it. I'm not really itching to change much on the car. Dragon. The one thing I noticed too is that, like, if you miss the shift in this car, it kind of bogs. Like, you don't want to let it bang off the chip. And that little chime is the downshift protection, if you're not familiar with RaceRoom. It's like a bell ringing. I think I gotta get the tires warmed up, and like the first couple laps are throwaways. We'll see though. I feel like he's running a cunt hair more downforce than me. But who knows, he might not be, and I just might be bad. Tires are definitely different this lap. Fuck me. That was a really good lap, too. That was a great lap. There it is. Such a fun car to drive. It's so glued, too. No, I got greedy there. That one is on me. But that was fun. So we'll put 64 liters of fuel in. Be a 3-stop race thanks to our boy Mohammed. I think his name's Mohammed in the chat of this actual server. So I'm actually going to go pee because that's a thing. Got a little hot there. And we'll save that. And hope it holds. Anyway, I'm going to use the washroom real quick, and we will come back and run the race. Did he beat me? Nope. Anyway, for those who are just tuning in, with 2 minutes left in qualifying, this is RaceRoom's weekly ranked race in the North American time slot for this week. So there's only one of these that go off. Well, 3 of them, but you know what I mean. This is the only North American one. IndyCar at Mid-Ohio. It's the full course. This track was one of the first tracks available for RaceRoom Racing Experience when it kind of branched out from being a hot lap sim to something more fleshed out. So the track model is a bit out of date, but in my opinion, I think it still looks fine. This race is for ranked. 90 minutes long, standing start. I mean, what else is there to say, really? I'm disappointed that not a lot of people turned out. 10 cars in the dead of winter in a very good car-track combination. In a car that most people own already. This car was released years and years ago. We got 10 people. And when you look at the flags, I think only 8 of 10 are in the North American time slot. So, like, when you factor out what appears to be the Australian guy and someone from the Middle East, I'm not sure exactly what flag that is. Someone might have to, in the chat, leave a comment. To only get 8 people is a bit disappointing. Thank you. Hopefully everything goes okay. Again, my big worry is that the strategy Mohammed gave me is not optimal, but it sounds right. These tires only last, I think they hit 50% lifespan after like 8 to 10 minutes of driving. So a full stint on these tires will probably require, if you're going to run these tires, will be around 20-22 minutes. You'll have to save them, of course, just a bit. 4 stints of 64 liters of fuel. A full race is, I think, 219 liters. But you got to factor in push to pass, too, so you got to fuel a bit more. Which I have. And yeah, that's there's your starting grid, so I think everyone's going to be on alts to start the race. And we'll see how this goes. RaceRoom's a bit clunky in terms of their UI. Like here, I'm just spawned. Yeah, like that changeover was not great. But yeah, like here we go, boys. 90 minutes of driving. Let's make sure our pit stop preset is selected properly. It is. We've got alts. 64 liters. The brakes are fine because you can fuck that up in this game. let's hope this goes okay. I don't have a look left or a look right button bound, so I gotta be careful on the start. But anyway, thanks for coming out. Push to pass rule is just you get 10 all race, and whenever you want to use them, you can. Anyway, here we go. Watch me get junked out, turn one, lap one. There's junk behind us. Some guy spun on the start. Took out, that'd be Edu, right as we got going. And we are green for 90 minutes of Mid-Ohio. The draft wake in these cars is pretty excessive. So if Hall behind me gets in my toe on any of the main straights, he's going to go around me. It's just something you have to deal with. I feel bad for Edu because he had a great car. And have to deal with side pod damage like that sucks. I also have to be smart and not overstress the tires like I was in qualifying because the left rear was getting chewed up just a bit. One retirement already, so we're down to 9 cars in a 90-minute race after one lap. Paul is actually putting up a pretty good fight right now. And our race pace has slowed tremendously compared to qualifying. I ran a low 105, or was it? No, a low 104, right? And we're in the 107s here. And like part of that is fuel, but again, I'm not pushing particularly hard right now. If Hall wants by, he is more than welcome to once he gets here. Again, not a lot of cars in this race. This is the North American time slot race, so it's a bit disappointing. We only brought 10 cars to the grid, but it is what it is. It's something that, it's good data for sim racers to have that, like, hey, the major races that they advertise each week on Facebook don't get a very big turnout. That's something I'd want to know. Hall's kind of got here. But, like, we got 90 minutes to sort this out, so if he wants by, like, he's more than welcome to have it. And he's actually going to lose the nose behind us going into 1. Downforce cars, of course, you have to deal with dirty air a lot of the time, and who knows what level of downforce he's running. This car is pretty trimmed out on my end. I've mentioned earlier the default set, in my opinion, is not very good. It's too draggy, too much aero. But he is on us. He's putting up a good fight in the technical sectors. But I'm also not pushing very hard. Nice smooth movements, not really getting back to the gas as quick as I can. Because at the end of the day, this is an endurance race, right? You drive it a bit differently than a 20-minute sprint on SRS. Not a whole lot, but... Let's see what Kyle does here. I don't think his name's Kyle, but we'll see. Hall. We'll call him Hall. Yeah, he's losing the nose again behind us. Edie with the quickest lap. He's made up about 0.3 of a second on us. Interesting little storyline developing there. So again, 4 even race stints with 64 liters of fuel. Try to use as little push to pass as possible. Because might need it at the end. And then just keep the tires under it. These alts degrade pretty fast. RaceRoom did a good job, I think, with the degradation levels between the alts and the primaries. So we're just hanging out. Edu is really pushing to try and get up here. Because he knows he lost some important ground. He's got to drive with a bit of damage too. It's not fun for him. I think the camber adjustment I made was a step in the right direction. It's not nuking the left rear as much as I worried it might. It's the readouts in the garage menu. Said this corner in particular, it's not nice to the tires. We're actually going to set the fastest lap that lap. So we're quicker than Edu, but he's going to answer right back with a 106.3, so he's still charging pretty hard. He's really mad that it happened at the start, and I don't blame him. These cars don't have launch control, so when you let the clutch out, or you shifted into first, you did a 200-foot burnout and hope it stayed pointed straight, and the guy beside him didn't stay pointed straight, which happens. We've actually pulled from Edu right now. He's down to 3.8 seconds when he crossed the line at 3.3. I don't know if that's RaceRoom's delta being fucky, but we might have gained some ground. Actually, yeah, we have. Just a bit. Interesting. Hall we're pulling away from. I don't know if he has damage or not. Left rear starting to get a little bit worn, but it happens. I'm not feeling it from the car itself. Like the tires don't feel like they're wearing. Coming up on a back marker, but he's actually doing a pretty good job right now. He's running a good pace. Maybe yellow tires on the HUD aren't that big of a deal. I don't play RaceRoom enough to kind of know that certain HUD readouts you don't need to worry about, right? But as far as I'm concerned, we're the quickest car on the track right now. And whoever is in front of us is flying too. Like this is a back marker we're coming up on, and he's like noticeably like still pretty fucking fast, which is not common in online racing sims where back markers are like pulling on the leader. Okay, now I'm slowly starting to feel the left front doesn't have like the optimal turn in that it used to, but we're pulling so much from Hall, and Edu's kept at bay that like who cares? I'll just try and nurse it if I can. That's actually Iuda in front of us, one of the regulars in the RaceRoom ranked stuff. Just had a bad start, sounds like. So that's technically your third qualifier, or your number 3 qualifier. So, like, no wonder he's actually running pretty quick. So far, it's a comfy little drive right now. The last full distance race I did here, I think, was on iRacing in 2012. They had like a special World Tour event for the Dallara IR05, and I think I won second split. And like in pretty dominant fashion too. So this is a nice little throwback. That was like 10 years ago at this point. I admittedly don't have time to read chat because Mid-Ohio's just like that, where it's not a lot of long straights. Hall and Edu are going to be battling soon. Hello, Mr. Ted, is your internet fixed? Sadly, I'm not in the call anymore. Friends are texting me. Yeah, it's Buddy's birthday, so like the moment the stream ends, I have to or the race ends, I have to peace out and go to the bar with him. Hall and Edu are fighting right now. Hall's dropped off like significantly. I'm actually noticing the tires start to go too. The right front now. But the rears are fine, which is interesting. So we're halfway through the fuel stint right now. It's not bad. Now that we're on worn tires, I'm definitely pulling from the cars behind us. Seems like the shittier our tires are, the better I do. Oh wow, Hall and Edu got into it. They lost a second on me. Left rear starting to go now. I feel like the engine's losing power over the course of a run. Interesting. Bit of fighting with back markers ahead of us. One guy's gonna spin. So Middle Eastern guy who qualified third is still in front of us, running a pretty good race right now, all things considered. The rears are brown. I don't know what that means. They don't feel brown. The left front's brown. Again, I don't know what that means. They feel okay. Edu down to 5 seconds now. Yeah, Hall and Edu got into it. Basically an endurance race at this point. All the tires are blinking at me, but like the car feels fine. It's kind of anticlimactic here. Hall got in some sort of wreck, it looks like. But Edu is 5 seconds and some change back, so. Our primary competition is now in second place, which is good, but he's definitely got damage. Maybe Hall went into the pits? That seems more likely. This car on worn tires is pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun to drive right now. Has Edu also pulled into the pits? I don't really know what's happening here. Maybe? I don't think so. I think he wrecked. We'll see here. Regardless, like, I'm staying on my strategy. Because, like, the car right now is so good that... Thank you, sir. Yeah, I don't think he pit. I think he wrecked. Bizarre. Everyone seems to be slip sliding on these tires except me, which is kind of funny. Some people got some penalties, it looks like. Pit window opens in 3 minutes. Interesting. Lots of guys getting like drive-throughs. Not sure why. Is gonna pull off for us. Really nice. Pit window opens in 1 minute. Okay. So I guess like next time around we pit. Well, I guess I'll come in this lap, because, like, I don't really see why I wouldn't. Put more alts on. Don't fix the damage. 64 liters of fuel. I don't know what happened to Edu. My pit window is open. So it'll be interesting to see how long a stop actually takes. I think it's around 28 seconds and then the drive through pit lane, so see if we'll cycle out in front of Hall or not. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Into the pits we go. Stop could have been better. I'm not sure how I'm 19 seconds ahead. I do have a little bit of engine damage, but it's not really affecting me. I think Edu might be out of the race, to be honest with you, because I don't see him anymore. Oh, you know what? The engine damage was from sitting in the pits and overheating. Interesting. Yeah, because now we got air going into the motor again. The engine damage icon's gone away. Push to pass not needed, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, I expected a tougher field, to be honest with you, right? So, like, this is very anticlimactic. But again, it was good data for me to gather as to how many people are playing this game in North American time slot. So, like, I probably won't do another one of these. If I do, it'll be like, I'll join the UK server. I'll make, like, a point to wake up early for it. I probably could have ran with the Euro time slot, but I just didn't get out of bed quick enough. I was like, oh, I'll run the American split instead, and I'll wake up properly and, you know, have food and watch the Xfinity race, which ended up being a shit show. And I guess that was the wrong decision. And thank you, Maestro. Only 4 cars on the lead lap. Yeah, this is kind of sad. I'm sorry you guys are having to sit through this. Just something to keep on in the background, I suppose. I mean, that's what I do when I watch live streams. Like, I don't engage with like people's chat a lot. Like when I watch I'll watch like Random Call Sign or Billy Strange, and I'll be there the whole stream, but I will just never say anything because like usually they're just on my second monitor as like white noise, right? And like if they say something funny or I want to hear their opinion on something, like I'll leave like 1 or 2 comments. But, like, I don't actively try and, like, engage with them the whole time, because it's just, like, it's not really how I watch TV. You know, it sucks for Hall. Whatever he did to lose that much time on me is he actually ran a really good race up to that mistake, I guess. Like, he was on me. He probably could have got around me if he put together a good sector and then held me off, but for whatever reason the car just went away on him. So that kind of sucks for him. And then Edu from what looks to be either Australia or New Zealand, like he was probably like the quickest car out there. I think he still has the best lap of this race. But he got dinged up literally on the start, and it took him out of contention from the word go. Because he's always fighting damage, and I don't really know what happened. I don't see him on the standings chart anymore. And we are just pulling on Hall like a madman right now. I'm not even, like, admittedly not pushing that hard. Like, you saw what I ran in qualifying. That was pretty balls out. Like, that was a try-hard lap. And now we're just running, like, oh, 106.8. Someone's off. What's interesting is that with lap times here only being about 66 seconds, we could theoretically lap Hall and like everybody. And not even like having to like push hard for it, but like I haven't even had my second pit stop yet. And it's a 3 stopper, right? So, like, I'm on pace to lap the field at this point, which is really cool. I haven't done that in a long time. But this car is just so fucking hooked up right now. Like, open-wheel cars in pretty much any sim, once you get the aero balance down and once you get the car set up really well and have a good baseline, it drives like an arcade game. So, like, I'm really not having to put a lot of effort into these laps because, like, the aero is doing most of the work. And then in the low-speed corners, like, I've got pretty good geometry settings, I think. So, like, I'm not really having to think about, like, applying throttle as long as I just don't do it too early. So, like, to me, this drives like an arcade game. Or, like, something like Grid. Just because when an open-wheel car is set up correctly, that's how it's supposed to drive. Yeah, I think Edu's out of the race. That's fucked. He had a good car. Don't you have a widescreen? I have ultra-wide. And I've still not quite figured out how to make YouTube accept that as a resolution. I know Billy Strange has the same problem, and he just does it. He like fills it with the black space with what's it called, like video of himself driving, right? But I'm too ugly for that. So did Hall spin again? Oh my god, a guy spun in front of me. Look, I'll be honest with you, I seem to be the only person who knows what the fuck they're doing in this lobby, which is really odd. Because, like, and Ted and I have talked about this before on, like, Discord, same with me and Ethan Dean. Like, guys invest a lot of money into, like, getting a racing sim set up, and, like, buying the games, and, like, registering for, like, stuff like RaceRoom, or, like, making the effort, you know, to clear their schedule for, like, 2 hours to run in a race like this. Right? But they don't care enough about, like, the actual driving part to, like, get good at the driving. So, like, for someone like myself who did, like, this race is, like, really boring. And it's more about, like, how many consistent laps can I click off? And, like, how much can I win by? Because Hall's had another issue, I think. Down to 44 seconds, so we might actually lap him before the halfway point, which is just crazy when you think about it. And again, like, you can tell with how late I'm getting on the gas that, like, I'm not driving very hard at all. Right? We're gonna end up catching Hall before the stint's over. Hall is clearly overdriving trying to catch you. Well, like, it's over at that point. Like, you have to hope I make a mistake or, like, fuck up my fuel calculation, which I might have. Right? But, like, Hall had a really good car to start the race. And, like, I expected him to pass me, and he just didn't. I definitely would like to do over into race Edu again, because he had such a good car, too. Like, it took me until pretty late in the session where I finally got around him on the qualifying board. And, like, a 10th is nothing in these cars. A 10th is, like, you got one corner better than the other guy. But with the draft and how easy these cars are to drive, like, we should have been on top of each other for the full 90 minutes of this race. And then you just got fucked on the start because other people just spun. But I don't know what else is happening in the rest of the grid. At least we've gotten past the first 30 minutes. Like, the race is going by a lot quicker than I thought it would. And this kind of situation is also why I'm an advocate for better AI in racing sims. And like once my own project gets up and running, like I'm gonna push for like we need to fix X, Y, and Z AI elements and make sure they're like super refined. Because like look at it this way, like RaceRoom's a popular game in Europe, but I happen to live in North America. That's not my fault, but like if I want an online race, this is what happens in most online races, right? Like, your options are either iRacing or nothing, and if you don't want to put up with iRacing's physics, well, like, the online racing is just not all it's cracked up to be, right? Like, I'm running in a server with 10 guys, and, like, second place is 50 seconds behind me, and we're not at the halfway mark. So, like, I need the option for good, competent AI, because, like, if I do take the time out of my night, like I did tonight to run an online race, like, I'm really fucking bored. I am. And that's not meant to disparage the other guys, but, like, this is just what happens when there's not a huge pool of, like, online racers to pick from, right? So I need the ability where I'm like, okay, if there's nobody online, or, like, there's only 10 people signed up for a race, I need to be able to say, okay, that's not a big deal, because I can just configure the AI and run my own race with AI that's on par with my skill level, and it'll be really fun. And I can have a lot of fun battling for 5th against the AI, as opposed to just, like, dude, I'm 50 seconds ahead, right? Because most racing sims don't offer that, if you're any sort of like road racing fan in North America, you're fucked unless you play iRacing. And then it turns into, well, if you don't want to play iRacing because of XYZ complaints about the tire model, you literally can't sim race, right? Like, it's almost like the better you get at these games, and the more competent you get at these games, I'm not trying to sit here and say, like, I'm a god at these games, but, like, I know I'm in the top 1%, right? When you get to that point, it's arguably less fun because, like, there's not as many people of your skill level to race across, like, every racing sim. It's arguably more fun to play a racing sim when you don't really know what you're doing, or you're just starting to figure it out, and, like, you get your first podium finish. Like, you start 7th and finish 3rd. That's when sim racing's really fun. This is just, like, lame. You know? Like, I'll be honest, it's lame. But like I said at the start of the stream, I just wanted to run it to see how many people are actually playing this. And to see, like, what the experience is like to do a full distance race in this game. And honestly, like, from a functionality standpoint, I actually don't mind this. Like, the UI, I wish I could adjust and, like, have different options, because I'm not a big fan of, like, the Fox-style NASCAR ticker at the top. I do wish I could have, like, what George Ortner does when he streams, where it's, like, the kind of F1 standings column in the top left. I like that. But, like, setting a pit stop strategy and configuring everything, and even the fact that the game gave me, like, an average, like, liters per lap readout, like, it took me, like, no time at all to set up a strategy for this race and, like, go into it somewhat prepared. Pitting is easy to have, like, all the buttons mapped for, like, toggling all the different, like, the pit options, right? It was really easy to set. It makes sense. Executing a pit stop, like, it's not, like, fucky or weird shit happens. Right? But it's just, there's not enough people playing this game in the major population zones, so it's like, well, I'm bored. I gotta look into SimHub. And, like, that shows up on your screen, too, right? It's not just for streams, it's for, like, when you're actually physically playing a game. Might have to look into that. I also do like how the virtual crew chief popped up and was like, hey, your pit window's open, like you might need to think about pitting here soon. That was kind of neat. And it coincided with like the tires showing red on the heads-up display. I thought that was neat. And it seems like some guys got drive-through penalties for speeding on pit road, so like that's taken care of. Like the functionality for this game seems to be like completely fine. That's Hall and Anderson up ahead right there. Interesting. So we are going to catch them. And with pit stops taking around like 45 seconds here, like after I lap them, I'll be so far ahead that I'll come out like a pretty solid amount in front of them. I will say this car feels great on worn tires. I've said that a few times this stream, but like RaceRoom has this thing where the cars are almost too grippy on fresh tires. Maybe that's realistic. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because it's not too overblown. But like halfway through a stint when the tires start falling away, I think this game feels like phenomenal. Because like I can feel each corner of the car like giving way in a different fashion. Like it doesn't have the turn in it used to. When I get on the power, it doesn't have like the rear end grip that it used to. It kind of wants to like wander around on me, but it's not like overblown like some games. And like my pace is naturally slowed because of it, which is really cool. So that's Anderson in front of us in the gold car, and then Hall will be the blue and white Penske looking car. Edu is a lap behind in 5th. Don't really know what's going on here. I mean, I'm flying up on them. And they are running reds, so I guess we're all on the same strategy. They just wrecked at one point. Okay, one of you are going to have to let me go. Thank you. He actually did that in a really good spot, too. That was pretty painless. Man, the speed difference is like crazy. Looks like he's on the primaries. Look at this draft here too. He's actually trying to stay in front of me, which is, I actually don't disagree with that. Yeah, he's on the blacks. Look, like I won't buy. Good on him. I like this guy. I will say, like, the driving standards are pretty good. I've noticed across, like, a lot of different racing sims that aren't iRacing. Like, I haven't had a genuine, like, retard backmarker collision in, like, a serious amount of time. Another spin in front of us. I don't think Mid-Ohio is that hard. I think people are just rocking the default setup, really. Because, like, my car could not be more glued. Right? Part of me wants to say fuck it and then just take alts and finish the race with 2 stops, but oh, someone got disqualified. Not sure what happened there. I mean, if you cut the track too many times or have too many incidents, it's like iRacing, right? Or come flying into the pits over a speed threshold. Mid-Ohio is actually hard. With the wrong setup, and yeah, you're not wrong. Like this section especially, like if you're not in the right gear and you don't roll on the throttle properly over this crest, you're dead. And then this rhythm section here, if you don't get the line right, you either lose a lot of speed or you wreck. I remember it being really difficult in iRacing, but then you learn the layout and it's like, oh, this is like a lot of fun. Halfway through the race. A little bit over. The left rear is red, so we'll call some of the pits here really, really soon. Within a couple laps, I think. Unless there's a pit window similar to AC where you have to pit inside the time when the pits are open, but I don't think so. Taking Ted's advice and trying to slow my hands down as much as possible. Not even to keep the car balanced, but just to prevent from wearing the fronts. And it's worked. It's no Ozarks. Yeah, like, I don't know, there's a couple spots where, like, the lightness of the car and going over certain crests can upset it if you don't have the setup dialed down, but I think I've put it in a pretty good loadout for this. But, like, I really just do the same shit I do with every other racing sim default. Like, usually you soften the rear rebound so that the rear end doesn't want to come around on corner exit. And then you just fuck with the sway bars. Really doing a good job of keeping the tires out under me. Like, it's displaying red on the UI, but it's not as, like, treacherous to drive as it looks, or as the UI would imply. Vidu's actually pulled his quickest lap there, that's good. He's 2 laps down now, though. Yeah, I feel bad for him. He got fucked on the start. I'll probably watch that afterwards. Not on stream, because I gotta go out, but later tonight. Really don't know when I should pit. It's not saying my pit window soon, but it's blinking red all around. The temps are fine. bring it in now. I feel like that's not the worst idea. We're like so far ahead. Click on the limiter. $64 liters. Alternate tires. What I did was illegal. They tend to not like if you cross through too many boxes other than your own. New tires on the ride, let's go. Yeah, and we did get a little hot, as you can see. But the air is going to cool it down on the backstretch here. Yeah, it's already stopped flashing on us. Oh, it's back. So we will have one more pit stop to go. Didn't need a downshift there, my bad. One more stop to go. If the pit window closes, we'll have to come in early, but that's fine. And then we'll just put hards on the car. Yeah, let's try and set the fastest lap. That might be fun. Watching this and then Supercross. That's a good way to warm up for Supercross. Maybe I'll try and get them to put that on at the bar. Unless it's on like one of the NBC subscription channels. If not, that'll be lame. I guess I passed Hall when he was in the pits. Maybe NBC, yeah, that's a good question. No challengers on the grid tonight. No, like I said, I ran this race out of curiosity because I'm not sure how populated the North American time slot RaceRoom stuff is. And I was like, you know what, I'll just run it and see what happens, and like that'll be the point of the stream, is like how many people are actually playing this game in the ranked races that are designed for North America. So like this is the full distance IndyCar one. And I was hoping we get like 20. Because like there has to be 20 people who own this game who are like, IndyCar looks sweet. And they own the content, like... You know what I mean, right? And we got 10, and there were 3 quick guys in qualifying. There really were. Like, I didn't think I was going to out-qualify Edu unless I, like, really pushed, and I got it, like, basically in the last couple of minutes. But, like, the race itself started, and there was a bit of a clusterfuck on the grid where people banged side pods. And from that point forward, I just walked away with it. I definitely am the fastest car on the track. Hall put up a good fight, but it's like the moment the tires worn, like, people forgot how to drive. And, like, I just kept being fast, and everyone else, like, slowed up or started making mistakes. But I thought it was going to be, like, a solid 80 minutes of, like, oh, I don't know if my strategy's going to hold up, or, like, oh, I might have to battle with this guy for a while, and I haven't seen anybody. The other annoying part, too, is, and, like, I hate doing this because, like, we're all kind of guilty of it, but, like, when this car first came out, it got reviewed by like all the main like content creators, right? And they're all like, wow, this is really, really good. Where are they? Like, I'm not trying to put people on the spot, but like, hey, if you're gonna do a video saying like game X is really good and you should play it, you should probably play it, you know? And then, like, especially some of the bigger, like, sim YouTubers, like, if you get, like, 100,000 views, like, let's say Empty Box does a review on this car back in the day, and you get 100,000 views, especially on, like, a regional-specific content, like American IndyCar, like, if you get 100k views on a video that says, like, hey, this car's actually really good and you should get it for RaceRoom, you couldn't find 50 of those 100,000 people who watched your video to, like, buy this car for, like, $2 and then do an online race with it, right? Because this isn't part of a season, this is just like a one-off like special event that they hold. Every weekend on Saturday, they hold what is essentially just like a big event that you can race in that is still for rating. But like it's just a big event, and they tell you what it is ahead of time. So like, think of the amount of eyeballs that saw like this piece of content was released or like own this game and are interested in IndyCar. And think of the amount of like YouTube videos that were done on this specific piece of content back in the day as a review saying it was really good. And we got 10 people to show up for a race, out of like the 120,000 who potentially watched it and owned the game. And that's something I've found very odd about sim racing content creation too as a whole, and maybe I like shouldn't be saying this because it's not something you should point out. But like, some of the bigger channels to medium-sized channels like get a fuck ton of people watching them. And it's like, where are they when it comes to actually playing the game? Like, even for RaceRoom's, like, online ranked servers, like, I'm 400th, and I really haven't played this game a whole lot. Like, on the global leaderboards, I'm 400th. Or, like, 414 or something, and it'll go up with this, too, right? But, like, for the volume of people watching sim racing content, like, there's very few actually playing it. Even, like, with SRS, which is, like, the longest and most... It's the de facto online racing app for Assetto Corsa. The turnouts are not very good. For the volume of people supposedly playing Assetto Corsa and for the volume of people who watch, like, AC content online. Because, like, I'm even talking about, like, the non-content creator channels. Like, there's, like, a channel called, like, Mitsos, who does, like, just strictly F1 onboards or F1 hot laps using AC, and he gets a lot of views. And he does a really good job with his channel. So it's like, how have, like, not even a portion of his, like, thousands upon thousands of viewers, like, taken up racing AC online? Like, where are they? It's really interesting food for thought. Like, for the volume of people watching stuff like sim racing content on YouTube, or even like Simcade stuff, like, for the amount of views like Super GT gets, to me it's really fascinating that, like, when I would play Gran Turismo Sport back in the day, like, I'd see the same, like, 50 motherfuckers in every race. Now, not all, like, 250,000 people who watch Super GT's videos religiously are gonna play Gran Turismo, but, like, you can't tell me 95% of them don't own the game. Or, like, don't race online. It's really odd. There's, like, a massive discrepancy between, like, how many people watch sim racing content versus, like, okay, it's actually time to play the game and, like, do a race, and there's, like, 10 people in the race. Oh, my friends are texting me. Now again, if it bitches at me that the pit window's gonna close suddenly, I have to immediately come in and put on hards and just stuff it with fuel. But so far we're doing okay. We got 30 minutes left. We're 2/3 of the way through the race. Anderson has taken over P2. Hall has made some sort of mistake, has fallen back to P4. Ayuda, who qualified third, got involved in opening lap carnage, has actually worked his way up to third. So he's actually had probably the best drive out of anyone this race so far. Edu, who qualified second and probably could have won the race, is sitting in fifth. Ayuda was actually the guy who gave us the race strat. Just said 3 stops, take alts the entire time. I'd love for you to discuss the Monster Jam Steel Titans games. We can do that right now. Because I'm a lifelong Monster Truck fan. My buddies run a sim studio that does contract work for Feld Entertainment, who runs Monster Jam. So if you've ever seen, like, some of their work's actually been featured in, like, official promo material. Like, when they unveiled the World Finals track layout, and there was, like, a demonstration of the track that looks suspiciously like rigs of rods, that's their stuff. That's their custom truck that they licensed or, I guess, sold the rights to Feld to. They've helped the Diesel brothers with, like, their airplane stunt, where it was like a monster truck jumping over an airplane. Like, they helped, like, model that and, like, ran the simulations on it. Those are some of my best friends who run that operation. So, like, I've been a lifelong monster truck fan, and I used to run in the Rigs or Rods community when it first got started, like when people first discovered the game and ran, like, the very first events. I was part of that. The Steel Titans games, I think 1 was better than 2. I don't like all the childish shit they shoved into 2, like the fantasy courses, like the Monster Mutt Dog Park or anything like that. 1 was pretty good. I really don't know what to say about the games other than I wish the track design was better. Like, the physics are fine. It reminds me of Monster Truck Madness 2 in a lot of ways. It's using the same formula. The trucks kind of drive like MTM2. I mean, there's a lot more in-air control, but it's got that same, like, arcade racer, but with weight to the trucks. The track design is what bothers me. The reason MTM 1 and 2 were a lot of fun was there was a lot of creativity with the environments, but they were still grounded in reality. Like the Arizona track that I've done hot laps on, the reason I like that track is because it was like a mid-1990s version of, like, a desert and then, like, a metropolitan area that you race through, and it was kind of done realistically. Okay, yeah, we do have to pit. Wow. Okay, don't do what I did and adjust the tires as you're fucking driving through a technical part of the circuit, but we'll put in now. Let's not get DQ'd here at the last second. Wee you, wee you, wee you. Will you talk about your sim project soon? Soon, TM, is probably a good answer. Your video game on the failure of Monster Truck Sims spoke to me like no other video. Yeah, I put a lot of effort into that. That was like a whole weekend project, and I was just bored. That was a terrible, terrible exit. Well, like, because I've grown up with them, right? And I saw how good MTM1 was. Right? And MTM2 even itself was a regression because it didn't feature stadium racing like the first game did, which was just lame. And like from that point forward, it was just like more and more arcade bullshit that nobody wanted. Even though the original MTM games reviewed really well, they just changed the formula for no reason. Failing to realize that like humans hate change, right? But no, I think the Steel Titans games were really good. It's just the level design was not great. Like the first one, they gave you like a generic like rock canyon environment to explore, and like it wasn't bad, but there was just not like there wasn't a lot of soul behind it. Like there wasn't a lot of creativity. It was just like here's some generic highways that lead somewhere, and here's a couple of like set pieces you can fuck around with, but like there was just like a lot of soul behind like the MTM games. Like again, you have the Arizona Rally, where it's like it felt like an adventure through like all these different environments in the same track. And then you could pick a different track, like the Yucatan Adventure in MTM1, and it was like a completely different environment. And it was like, it had a different art style, and it was designed different, like you were island hopping and driving by like airfields in Hawaii and stuff. Well, not Hawaii, it's the Yucatan, but you know what I mean, right? And like each track was like so different and had a different like flow to it, and like some tracks had tons of jumps, and other tracks it was more like Tumbleweed Flats was more like a Baja track, where it wasn't a lot of like jumps or like technical corners. It just kind of encouraged you to like sprint across like the open map and like cut massive parts of the track out. I really hope the alts last this long. Yeah, I don't want to talk about my project until like it's written in stone and like we're going deep on it, because the problem is when people like announce games or start talking before like things have been made, is it sets expectations that aren't great, or that like if the project changes in scope at some point, you now have to double back. Like a good example is PCARS 3, where like the early reports of the game from like Ian Bell mentioning it on Twitter, where it's just like it'd be the perfect blend of you know, racing sim physics but arcade goodness, or like whatever he used to describe it back in the day on Twitter. But from that point to release, the project changed in scope, and features were cut, or just certain design elements were made, right? If that makes sense. And suddenly, like, what you've announced on Twitter and got everyone hyped about isn't really what you ended up selling people. So now you just have opened the door for people to being like, what the fuck did you sell us? Like, this isn't what you advertised, so I really don't want to do that. But, like, I've obviously completed the design doc. Like, there is a team that is going to work on it. It's a big team, which is pretty cool. It doesn't really reinvent the wheel, but it improves in smart areas that I think you guys are going to like. But, like, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. I will say we have a domain registered, so that's really exciting. So it has a name. I like it. I think it's okay. See if you guys can find it. That's your challenge. Because like I said, it is registered, it's real, right? It's just a matter of like, okay, we gotta hire people, we gotta get, you know, all the moving parts in place, because it's essentially like you're starting a small business, right? And like, I've explained that to my parents too, because they're like, well, like, are you taking a salary yet? Have you signed anything? I'm like, well, no, like, we literally have to build this from the ground up. Did you play the freestyle minigame in Monster Jam Maximum Destruction? I absolutely did. And you're right, like, that was kind of what I flocked to, too, where it was, like, of how terrible the rest of the game was. It's like, you're such a big Monster Jam fan that, like, if they give you this crappy freestyle minigame in a somewhat realistic looking stadium, you will play it for hours as a kid, because it's just like something that connects you to like the realistic side of monster truck racing. I'm really trying not to wear the tires because I'm not sure how long they're going to last. I think they'll be okay, though. Because it took 10 minutes to get them down to yellows when I tested, so it should be fine. I hope you'll ask for stealth opinions even early on. So some of the ideas that you guys have run by me in my chat, even before like Ian came on and we talked about the project, some of you guys have like touched on things that we're going to implement, or we're going to try and implement. Like a lot of devs, in my opinion, I don't think are super invested in like racing games as a whole, so they don't float around the community as much and like gauge what people want or like interesting ideas. But like there's stuff that like people have mentioned in passing on my YouTube channel that like I was like, yes, let's do that, or like that was an idea we were already going to make, like that was already on the drawing board and someone else brought it up without even being provoked about it. And that was kind of our cue that, like, we're actually on to something here, which is really exciting. It's kind of like when, I don't know, like, 10 years ago, or, I don't know, like 7 years ago, Metallica fans would be, like, in the forums being like, they should re-release Master of Puppets, but with just, like, a huge picture book and you know, like, soundboard audio from, like, various concerts or the Damage Incorporated tour. And that's what Metallica was actually building in secret. There's been a couple situations like that, where, like, people have left, like, random comments on either my podcast with Ted, or, you know, various just, like, talky pieces I've done on YouTube. Where people have left comments and put down like ideas that we were already making, which is really amazing. So it's cool in that regard. I wonder if I can make the tires last 17 minutes. We'll see. Like, I don't think I'm allowed to pit at this point. Now, when it says plus 1 lap on the leaderboard, what that essentially is meaning is that these people have to unlap themselves. I think we'll be okay, though. Edu is flying, though. Holy shit. 105.7. I do wonder if I had to use both tire compounds, but like nobody mentioned that to me. It's just said you have to take 2 tires in a pit stop. Okay. Well, like I was going to do that anyway. Like you kind of need to. Someone went off here. This is a bit like practice that you don't need. Yeah, I'm quite bored. I really don't understand how I pulled such a, like, an insane gap unless people just really did wreck that frequently. Thank you, sir. Don't know who that was because I don't have driver labels turned on. I try and run with as little HUD as I can. And even in this car, like, I guess I don't really need to run... what's the word I'm looking for? I don't need to run, like, the bottom HUD in the bottom right, because I have everything on the wheel, right? Like, F is the fuel gauge. Push to pass is 10. Probably don't need tires either once you generally know the life. It seems like you run out of fuel before tires. Right? Yeah, I'm disappointed. Like, you know what? Even with 20 cars, even if it was lopsided with 20 cars, like, I'd be a lot more satisfied. Because at least it's a full field and it's kind of like an event. Unlike the mid-pack guys have people to race against, but like this had to be boring for everyone. And again, it's why you need a good AI in racing games, because like sometimes this happens. Sometimes you show up to a lobby and you're just that much faster than everyone. And like you don't live in Europe, so you can't race the European guys unless you like wake up early on a Saturday, right? But the thing is, like, it drives so good, and the FFB is so good, and the game runs so well that like I really don't mind doing this like the odd time. At least you're going to the bar after. I'd be pissed if my night ended on a race. Yeah. And like I don't drink, so I'm everyone's DD, but like just to hang out and eat wings, watch the game, and just decompress. It's nice. Probably get stoned. I don't know how people are losing the car like this much. Like this, I don't know who this is in front of me, but like he was struggling through that sector, and like I'm just so planted right now. Yeah, good decision. Oh my god, where are you going? Bad decision. What the fuck? I mean, like, next weekend, whatever the race is, I could probably join the EU time slot one, because it's around lunchtime my time. I'll just get up a bit earlier and, like, prepare for it. And we'll see how that goes. If I would have known it would have been this uncompetitive in the NA slot, I would have woken up earlier, but you live and you learn. Trying so hard not to slide the tires. I'm like 2 seconds a lap slower, which is just funny. Some of that's due to the amount of fuel I have, and it's the most fuel I've had all race. Just to make sure I got to the end. But like, I'm literally listening for the sounds of the tires. You know. I think we're okay here, though. Only got 10 laps to go or so. Are the jumping trucks coming to AMS too? That's actually a good question. I hope they do. I think they're a lot of fun. They're actually really fun in Grid Legends, which I talked about the other night on my, like, sit in the stands and chill stream. They're a lot of fun. People complain they're too hard to drive, but how many of those guys are on gamepads, right? And how many are sim racers? I thought they were the best trucks in the game. We have more presence on ACC North America, and that's not saying a lot. Yeah, and the shitty part is I really don't like ACC. I think I did a league in it with Sim Racing 604. And I ran the Audi the entire time, and I didn't know that the cars weren't balanced. So, like, whoever was in a Bentley just murdered me. And, like, I just picked the Audi because it looked cool. I didn't do a whole lot of research into, like, what car is supposedly the best one. But I ran second literally every race, which was hilarious. And the guy in the Bentley just smoked me, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? Then I think I, like, asked Ethan, I was like, is the Audi, like, fucked? And he's like, yeah, it's one of the slowest cars in the game, what are you doing? Oh. I hate how the game drives, though. You need to really, like, tuck the nose in and trail brake the shit out of the cars. So it really doesn't drive like RaceRoom or AC1 or R Factor 2. Like, you have to be really aggressive with it. And then when you do get sideways, there's too much drag applied on the tires, so it kind of forces you to drive like iRacing. Where, like, if you wheel it off the corner like I do, like in this game, to run a quick qualifying lap where you can, like, wiggle the rear end and get it to rotate quicker and just four-wheel drift off the corner. AC, it adds additional drag when you do that to the tires. Or too much drag when you're sideways. So, like, it's a really, like, strange way of driving it. It's like, it's more intense than, like, a Formula 1 car. Which doesn't match up with anything I've driven, like either in real life or on the sim, so it just falls into this like weird iRacing tier category for me. And I just become like uninterested in it. I'm impressed that like people actually stayed the full distance for this race, not just on the stream, but like in the server itself, because like this is over. I think we're going to make it to the end on tires. I think I saved enough. This is going to probably end up being the biggest win I've had ever in sim racing. Just in terms of like the gap to like second place. Like, this is rough. And I'm not even driving like as hard as I could be. It's pretty leisure at this point. I think that's Edu in front of us there. Again, it'll be interesting to see if I get disqualified or not because I didn't use both tire compounds, because I think IndyCar's rule is you have to use both. But I didn't see that written anywhere in this. I just saw, like, you have to make a pit stop. And it's like, well, of course you do. It's fucking 90 minutes racing. Like, you need to make a pit stop. Yeah, that's Edu right there. So that guy should have won the race. Oh, he's missing a front wing. Did he just not configure an option to set that up? Like, has he been riding without a front wing the entire time? Because if so, that would be crazy. Damn, we're down to like 3 seconds a lap slower. Than what my actual quickest lap was. I'm just like sandbagging at this point. Don't want to fuck anything up. This race would have been so sick with like a competitive field of cars. People would have been undercutting each other and drafting on the straights and trying to bait people into using push to pass and burning up people's tires. This is just like a tour of Mid-Ohio at this point. And I definitely saved enough tires because it finally just went red now on the left rear and I got a few more laps of that. So we're okay. The other thing I could do too is just because I'm so far ahead, I could wait at the start-finish line. And like, essentially like, just wait out a whole lap. But I don't think I will. I had better Mid-Ohio and open R Factor 2 lobbies, yeah. I mean, admittedly, like, there's a lot you need to change on this car from default, so, like, if you just jumped in thinking you could run default with, like, 1 or 2 changes and be competitive, it just was not going to happen. So I think we're on 2 to go here. Yeah, 2 to go. Minute and 10 lap time. We've got a minute and 15 left in the race when I cross the start-finish line, so 2 to go. And again, I'm still not quite sure in terms of visual representation, like what red tires or red flashing tires actually means on the hood, because like the car feels fine. So we'll see if we get DQ'd or not after 90 minutes of driving. It'd be hilarious to get disqualified at the very end, because I didn't read the tire rules, but as far as I saw, it was just mandatory 2-tire stop. So, like, I don't know. 1 to go. The pace I calculated was 81.4 laps. Well, this is the moment of truth as to whether we get DQ'd or not. So that's exciting. What an anticlimactic race, though. I'm sorry I streamed this for you. I thought this was going to be a lot more well attended. The moment of truth. Am I DQ'd? For not using all the tire compounds. But then again, Mohammed just said you can run alts the whole way and just push. So we'll see. Hasn't DQ'd me. I guess that's a win, question mark. Anyway, let's see what my friends want. Okay, that's good. My friends literally haven't left for the bar until like 10 minutes ago. So I missed nothing. iRacing just gives tight as balls setups that kill the right front nearly instantly. Yeah, I agree with that. The Group 5 cars in RaceRoom have shitty gearing. I also agree with that. DQ'd for being a Giga Chad. Anyway, yeah, like, thanks for coming out. That was disappointing. Edu, shout out to Edu, he was fucking flying. He ran really, really well, all things considered, but just that initial start fucked him. If you weren't here for the start of the race, he qualified beside me. I had a better launch. The guy in third behind me also had a good launch. Did a burnout, but lost control of the car about 100 feet in and tapped Edu's side pod. So Edu had damage. I don't know what happened to Hall. Because Hall was on my ass for like the first 20 minutes and like probably could have passed me. But then something happened and he must have wrecked or something and fell back. Anderson won the war of attrition. 107.3 was his quickest lap and he was up there with us. Alberta is open? I thought this was Canada. Yeah, Alberta's done. All of our like COVID mandates and shit got dropped because Alberta's just Texas of Canada, right? Yeah, I don't know how to feel about that. That was a waste of time, but I'm glad to have done it. Just to get it out of the way. Yeah, I think it's literally just BC is still closed. Because my friend lives in a small resort town over there, and she's pissed that, like, she still has to wear a mask everywhere. And she's not vaccinated either, so, like, when she gets kicked out, she throws a shit fit. Anyway, thanks for coming out. That sucked. I'm sorry I made you guys sit through that. It sucks that Ted got DQ'd from the or DC'd from the Discord call, and I will try and run Streamlabs here. When I get back, I'll go fuck with that program so I can get the audio levels sorted out. So it's fun for you guys. But anyway, thanks for coming out. That is RaceRoom weekly ranked races in the North American time slot. We lapped the whole field. And it was just not even a challenge. So, like, I guess if I'm going to run this in the future, I have to run European time slot stuff, because that was just not fun. Finito. Not even nice, like, U1 screen, just like, here's the fucking lobby. I hope you had fun. Yeah, that was rough. Let's see what that did to my rank. It probably gave me, like, fuck all, too, which is the shitty part. Like, you can run, like, long races like that and gain nothing. Yeah, I gained 9 points of a rating. Gained 0.7 of reputation. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, me finishing third in a BMW M235i Racing Cup gained more points than like a 90-minute race in one of the most difficult cars in the game. Like, are you kidding me? Pathetic. I hate life so much. But it's cool. Like you can check your Q speed and you can check your consistency and like look up the like all the little like sabermetrics and stuff. I kind of like that. Is that the first race in RaceRoom I've won in 2022? Yeah, it actually has been. Cool. But goddamn, that sucked. I think in the replay, I should probably save the replay. How do I change that? Date. Okay. Anyway, thanks for coming out. I'm gonna kill the stream. I'm gonna go out and get stoned with my buddies. Cheers.